Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is a fine Wednesday evening here on the Film Guy Network. It is our last show of the week, and it is going to be our best show of the week here on Nothing But Rants, the show where we find topics that we're oddly passionate about, and we pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. One of the better bars that I've written down in my career. I always was, wondering how do I start shows? How do I start shows? And I would go back and watch myself, and I'd be like, well, hey guys, here I am. I'm like, damn, you suck at this job, bro. Like, you got to give them something. You got to give them a little bar. So there we were. We created it over time. And before we built the studio, it was fun to go back and like watch old shows and just be like, you get to really see the craft and see how it builds and how it's grown. And I can't wait to go back and like watch August 7th from 2023. In August 7th, 2025. I think it's gonna be dope for us. But no, I want to take a quick second to give a shout out to all you guys. The podcast numbers are going through the roof. They're going up drastically. And here's what I want to do. I want to give you a little, what we call in the business, a call to action. So follow with me right here. If you are watching us right now, okay, whether it be watching us live, if you're watching us on replay, if you are watching us on YouTube or wherever you find us, if you're watching us right now, run over to your podcast app, wherever you find podcasts, whether it be iTunes or Spotify or wherever, okay, find us, search the Film Guy Network, leave us a 5. Announced we had 15,000 subscribers. We've gone up another almost 200. So kudos to you guys, but keep growing this, man. Every single one of you guys and gals that have found this channel, y'all love it, and we love y'all for loving it. Continue to spread that love out into the world. It is indeed a What If Wednesday here on the channel. We're also going to give you some, unless it doesn't happen, a day early, unless it doesn't happen, one of our favorite segments around here. We've been lights out on that lately. We've been nailing some of those. Those are takes that we give ourselves insurance on, and we haven't even needed a lot of that insurance the last couple of weeks. We have some dynamite James Franklin sound that I'm excited to bring to you today. We also have our weekly renditions of the SEC QB rankings. Going to be some hot takes in there. I think some opinions on the rankings from some fan bases in that one. Lincoln Riley out here hyping up some mid, and we're going to give you our final thoughts and predictions on a pretty good slate this weekend. Boys, how are we feeling today?
Fantastic. Doing good.
My nose is bleeding.
What's going on? Just pushing it a little too hard in the squat rack?
No, it's just the dry air. I guess.
Cold, dry air getting you.
Just one of them things, man. Mm-hmm. It'd be happening. A nosebleed, never fun. Worst nosebleed I ever had an aerosol fight with my buddy Eric Lloyd growing up.
Whoa. Aerosol?
Yeah, the aerosol cans. I mean, we were just shithead kids. We were just running around the house spraying each other with
Bro, don't lie. You were doing whippets.
I thought you said aerosol.
No, like a Lysol can. We were
Okay.
just getting after it, just being shitheads. And next thing I know, I am just a gush, just a run from the nostrils. Lysol, not meant to be inhaled in mass quantities.
My worst one was in 6th grade. I was on the middle school baseball team. It was the first game I was ever going to start. I was going to start in right field. That tells you how bad I was in 6th grade. I was in right field.
It checks out.
But just routine pop flies warming up, and it hit the tip of my glove and nailed me square in the face. And I mean, my jersey still to this day has blood all over it.
You were in 6th grade?
Yeah.
Dude, I bet that pitcher that day was just like, yes! Jonathan's out.
All right, hold on, man. I wasn't that bad on the baseball diamond, all right. I was 6th grade playing with some 8th graders, man. All right,
I mean, bro,
something.
you took a shiner right off the nostril.
Oh, I did. It was
pregame,
bad.
So, yeah,
it was so bad.
You weren't great. You know what I mean? You weren't
I
great.
bounced back in high school.
Hey, that a boy. Hey, a little shake bag never hurt nobody.
That's right.
Hey, welcome in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate and review. And what I've learned or grown to love most about this network since adding the boys, I've laughed harder and had more fun doing my job since doing this than I have since I've been doing this. Like, being solo it had its perks, it had its fun. Like, I felt like I riffed more, and sometimes I felt like I really got cooking and it's hard to do that. It's hard to learn to do that now that we're trading off takes and stuff like that. But comedy and laughter was impossible. And I felt very super serious, very self-serious when I was by myself. And you guys have been around me off air, and I feel like this version of me on air now is me. Like, this is who I am, and this is actually I get to be myself on a much more higher rate. So thank you guys for joining me on this endeavor. Thank you guys that are listening and watching and doing all that good stuff. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing. Hey, little James Franklin sound. I want to play this, and then I want to comment about this because I've got bullet points. I've got 4 bullet points. We're going to play this once. We're going to talk about these bullet points, and then I want you to look for these things and listen to it back because it is tremendous.
Hey, good afternoon, James.
Hey, Corey.
A follow-up to what you were just asked there about Drew. Is there a balance, though, between, hey, we need you to throw the ball deep no matter, just take a shot. Don't overthink it. Take a shot. We need to see it. We're going to call it. And we need you to get some confidence in doing this as opposed to even giving a young quarterback the chance to say, hey, just check it down if it's not there.
I don't really understand what you're saying because we would never. Like, I'm like, my skin is curling when you say just drop back and chuck it deep no matter what. Like that is like, I don't even know what you're saying. It's like you're speaking like from
just
Mars.
Just send a guy on a post pattern, take the shot, throw it.
No matter what.
Give your receiver a chance to make a play on a ball. Even if he might be covered 30 yards down the field, maybe you think he'll be open 45 yards down the field, and like Godwin did, or with Jahan or KJ.
I still don't, like, you're speaking Japanese. Like we have never done that. Just throw the ball up and maybe he'll be open and maybe he'll catch. Like, my skin is like you're making me uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So okay. Yeah, we would not do that. We would never do that. We've never thought about doing that as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator, as a receivers coach. When I coached the receivers, I didn't want them to do that. So no, strong no. Like, yeah.
All right. So first of all, I want to give it. This is going to sound. This is way out of left field. You never would have thought I'd say this. I want to give a shout out to my man Corey. My man Corey that asked that question. And here's why I want to give a shout out to you, Corey. You just scared the ever-loving shit out of every reporter that don't know football for the rest of time, because they might end up being Corey on social media. They might end up getting out here getting absolutely torched by a Power 5 football coach for doing this. Now, I hear it every single week. I hear it every single week in meetings, and here's how you know. When Kirby asks for like clarification, or he asks as if he's completely confused by a question, he wants to do one of these. Okay, James Franklin's obviously been asked dozens of these types of questions because he finally did it. Today he finally went out there and did the "you're making my skin curl." Does your skin curl?
I always thought it crawled.
I mean,
I always thought the skin crawled, the toes curled.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but like the skin on your toes is technically curling when your toes curl. So like,
A little specific for me.
yeah, no.
Anyways, also, I loved the idea, and we're going to listen back. This is what I want you to listen back for the skin curling. Okay. Also listen back for the reporter just randomly throwing in all the great receivers that Penn State's had in years past, as if just because we have great receivers, we're just going to automatically chuck one up into the air.
I can tell you why he did that as a fellow journalist student myself. He did that because he does it to build credibility. Like, oh, I know what I'm talking about because I knew all these names. That's
you got to provide credibility in that moment when you ask a dumbass question.
It's such a cookie cutter way to ask a question. So that's why he did that.
Another one I want y'all to listen for, and this is a room question as well. If someone's saying something you don't understand, I'm either saying you're speaking Spanish or you might as well be speaking calculus, is the way I say it. Never really heard someone go the Japanese route.
I feel like I just typically say, like, you're speaking a different language to me right now.
You don't have a go-to language?
Yeah, I don't know if I've necessarily pinned it down on a single one. I said, like, you're speaking
I'm a big
alliterations
guy, so speaking Spanish, I'm going to hit that one every time. Just, it rolls right off the tongue.
Gibberish is a good one I use.
You're a gibberish guy. Speaking Japanese, never really one we've heard one go to. But most importantly, and this is the one I want y'all to really, really listen in for. Reporter asks question, coach flames. Reporter comes back, follows up with, oh, but you've had great receivers. The best part about this is my man Corey tries to hop in a third time. Okay, and listen for it. He tries to get in a third time. I'm a coach, and coach is just like, you're making my brain hurt. Please stop. Play it one more last time.
Hey, good afternoon, James.
Hey, Corey.
A follow-up to what you were just asked there about Drew. Is there a balance, though, between, hey, we need you to throw the ball deep no matter, just take a shot. Don't overthink it. Take a shot. We need to see it. We're going to call it. And we need you to get some confidence in doing this as opposed to even giving a young quarterback the chance to say, hey, just check it down if it's not there.
I don't really understand what you're saying because we would never, like my skin is curling when you say just drop back and chuck it deep no matter what. Like that is like, I don't even know what I don't know what you're saying. It's like you're speaking like from
just
Mars.
Just send a guy on a post pattern, take the shot, throw it.
No matter what.
Give your receiver a chance to make a play on a ball. Even if he might be covered 30 yards down the field, maybe you think he'll be open 45 yards down the field and like Godwin did or with Jahan or KJ.
I still don't, like, you're speaking Japanese. We have never done that. Just throw the ball up and maybe he'll be open and maybe he'll catch. Like my skin is you're making me uncomfortable. Like I don't know what you're talking about. So
okay.
Yeah, we would not do that. We would never do that. We've never thought about doing that as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator, as a receivers coach. I coached the receivers. I didn't want them to do that. So no, strong no. Yeah.
All right, I just got a great idea.
Great idea alert.
Once a year,
They
need to have like a 15-minute part of SEC Media Days where the coach can answer whatever question he wants, however he wants. So Kirby Smart can be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you asking this question? That is the dumbest question I've ever heard in my entire life. Just go in on reporters.
Better yet, like a bingo, you can use it like a bingo, like a get out of jail free card. You get it once a year.
Once a year.
Once a year, you get no holds barred. Get to speak to him like you would off camera.
Can you imagine how much more fun they'd be like, oh my God, he's using it right now?
Could you imagine how much more tension would be in those?
That's what I was
That's
about
what
to say.
I'm
Could you
saying,
imagine
dude.
being the guy that gets that card used on him? Like your
those-
question is what provoked it.
You keep those beat reporters in check.
We've been. I don't think I'm betraying any confidences here. If you listen to the Tuesday presser, Jordan Hill asks the same question every single week to start the pressers, and we kind of enjoy it because it is like, hey, get the ball rolling. Like the first questions, and it's always, hey, coach, couple days through practice, how's practice been this week?
Yeah, I noticed that.
And last week he was like, it was good. Thanks for asking, because he like knew it was coming, and he was like, when he needed to get to Andrew's game, I think is what it really was, but he was like, I'm gonna go ahead and nip this in the bud. And to Jordan's credit, hammered right back down with it this week. But I'm wondering if one of these days he's going to just, like, why the fuck are you asking me about practice? You know I'm not going to tell you. I just wish one time, and we joke about it, like one of these days he's going to serve it up.
Like every coach has a button on their desk, and that's like, all right, I'm hitting the button. This is the one I want.
This is the one.
Why the fuck
golden
are you
buzzer.
asking that question every week? I tell you, it's good. Every week I say it's good. Stop fucking asking.
And Bleacher Reports just alerts are just going off like nuts. Like once they hit that button, it's like tethered to all the social media bot accounts.
Everybody
just
gets one of those alerts that we got last week.
On threes, edit teams just fucking just railing just everything down that they possibly can. It looks like just alerts going off everywhere. One of the coaches somewhere is about to say some shit. Get the edit teams ready.
Who would have the best? Who would go in the best?
Saban, for sure.
You think so?
Well, no, honestly, because Saban's gotten to the point in his career where he just kind of doesn't give a shit. In meetings. If he wants to say something, like he got into the reporter's ass so bad that I remember Shannon Terry came out and like criticized him about it. Like one of the nation's like biggest media guys out here, or at least in terms of running an organization, was out here calling Saban out for his etiquette with the local media. But it would be Kirby for this sense. Kirby's still got a little level of PR to him where, like, he got asked the Mark Stoops question. The last one was, I'm not going to take that bait. Kirby would 100% love one of these buttons to just be like, nothing's going to go viral. We're all just going to, like, laugh about it. It's not going to be this new school where, like, oh, Kirby said something and now the whole media talks about it. Nope. Kirby's just going to get to say something. He would let it rip.
Yeah,
I bet our boy Biff would give us something good.
No, he just does it.
Biff does that.
See, that's the thing.
Biff has a
our
built-in
boy Biff
button.
Poggi out here just ripping it to rip it.
Well, he gets off on little tangents that have nothing to do with your question.
You know who
True.
you know who I kind of want to see do that? Jim Harbaugh. I feel like he would be so funny to
He
watch.
Gosh darn it.
I wish Jim Harbaugh for once would speak with some anger, like with some true words instead of speaking in riddles. He's very Riddler. He loves to speak in the riddles. And for once, you're right. I would like to see him speak with just some unperturbed anger.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I guess Ryan Day already used his button, huh?
yeah, Ryan Day.
Stuffed in.
Ryan Day.
Stuffed
Where
in.
you at, Lou Holtz?
Bring his old ass out here.
Hey, it's our favorite thing to do on this channel other than begging to ask for your support. Thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. It is What If Wednesday. I love me some What If Wednesday. Do y'all like What If Wednesday or do you like Unless It Doesn't Happen more?
I like What If Wednesday because, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like Unless It Doesn't Happen better.
Professional speaker over there. Did you hear that?
Well, I was gonna say because I came up with it.
Oh.
But then I was like, you know what? Don't say that.
No, I mean, I love a little
that's
pat on the
conceded.
back. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm proud of What If Wednesday. Let me put it
Hey,
that
you know what? I'll tell you something my boy Rick Floyd told me when I was younger. If you don't love you, who's going to love you? Okay, so love on some you. If you love a segment that you created on this show, by God, love up some you. No, it is What If Wednesday, and I'm going to start it off hot right here. What if North Carolina smokes Miami this weekend? Okay, and not only that, but goes on to win out and beats out Florida State. This isn't necessarily a what-if scenario for North Carolina, for instance. It's more of a what-if scenario from Florida State's perspective, okay? Here's the scenario where North Carolina puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Florida State to win with some style down the road here, down the stretch, okay? Just look at it. The key wins for Florida State, for Florida State on the resume right now. It's a neutral site win against LSU, and it's a road win against Clemson, who, by the way, doesn't look so great right now. The games left on the schedule, let's just take a look at it. They have a game against Syracuse. Not really a high-flying win, even if they win it, close. They got to win that with some style, okay, to protect against a one loss here. Okay, a 17th ranked Duke at home. Okay, got to handle that football game. It's Wake Forest, it's Pitt, it's a 25th ranked Miami who's probably not going to be ranked by that time that football game comes around. It's a home game against North Alabama, and it's a road game against 7-5, 7-4, maybe 6-4 Florida football team to end the football season. This Florida State slate, by the way, is what I'm trying to tell you. Doesn't look like it's going to afford them a one loss. It doesn't matter. You're still in if you lose to North Carolina in an ACC championship game. If North Carolina handles business and handles business with flair, Florida State might be in trouble if they lose that football game.
Yeah, how funny is it to say that Florida State's schedule might not be enough for them to get in with one loss at the start of the season? Was like they've got LSU and Clemson. Those are two top 10 teams right there.
They've got LSU, Clemson, Miami, and Florida on the schedule to start the season. You think if they handle business, they're good. But even if they come out of that unscathed with the one loss, you think they're good. But no, if they run the slate and don't do it with style points, okay, particularly with all the other one-loss teams that might be available come College Football Selection Committee weekend, Florida State might have had a season to remember and not be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I took it as only if North Carolina wins, is Miami or are they a top 10 team? The answer to that, yes. But taking it a step further, it's crazy to think that Florida State kind of does have to beat everyone in, win the ACC title.
I don't really know what to think about this. I'm trying to get a stance on it. I don't know where to stand.
There's a lot of hypotheticals still left out there. There's a lot of ground to be covered before this actually becomes like a real What If Wednesday. But I think that becomes the narrative is what I'm trying to say. If North Carolina goes out and wins this game like handily, the national narrative becomes now, should we be talking about North Carolina being the college football playoff team out of the ACC and not Florida State? That's what I'm saying.
Then I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that what if scenario.
What else? What are the what ifs we got coming on this weekend?
So I've got one. What if USC beats Notre Dame? Does USC get respect nationally, or do we kind of just write off Notre Dame and say, okay, they're not actually a good team? Because that would be 3 losses in 4 games.
That's such a classic you beat Notre Dame type thing.
Yeah,
Like Notre Dame's ranked and you're going in there and everybody's like, oh, they got a legit chance to upset you. And then when you do beat them, they're like, dude, it's Notre Dame. Like, that's not impressive.
They lost, they got a couple losses.
They just lost to Louisville, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, lost to Ohio State. They're garbage.
But to be fair, at that point, that would be 3 losses in 4 games for Notre Dame. And one of your wins, your only win, could have very well been a loss.
Mid Notre Dame.
Hmm.
If that's the case, it's going to be Notre Dame's fraudulent. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
The response is not going to be to give USC credit, is it?
No.
It'll be
I don't think
Caleb Williams. It depends on kind of how they win it. If their defense shows up.
If they shut Sam
that'd be
Hartman
that'd be
That's
the key
the
thing.
difference.
Like, if they win like 42-10, then people might start giving them some credit.
Yeah.
And they might be saying, you know what, Lincoln Riley, you were right earlier in the week.
But if it's like a 28-7 football game somehow, 31-7 football game, I don't know if that's
even if it's like a
necessarily the
1-score
national
game, I
narrative.
don't think people are going to give them the respect.
All right, you got one for me?
You know what? I actually didn't put any what ifs for some
I got
reason.
one. What if Florida beat South Carolina at home this weekend?
I would. Okay, I
Dude,
did
you've
think
taken
about this
2
one.
of mine now.
All right, because the Gamecocks are a 2.5-point favorite at home this weekend. But let's just say they lose this football game. Okay, it's a what if scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Florida's been an up and down football team. They're certainly talented enough. They're probably on par, if not slightly more talented than South Carolina. Okay, but if Florida wins this football game, South Carolina drops to 2-4. Okay, 2-4 on the season, and they have Texas A&M on the road left on the schedule. Okay, and Missouri on the schedule. Okay, and Kentucky on the schedule, and Clemson on the schedule.
Uh-oh.
There's a way we look up midway through the season or at the end of the season, and South Carolina might be a 5-7 football team. Hell, it might be a 4-8 football team if things don't break their way. How much does that knock them off their track on this tremendous recruiting run that they're in right now? They're in a top 15, top 18, top 20 recruiting cycles like the last 3 years under Shane Beamer. And it's looking better and better into the 25 and into the 26. Guys, if you're a 5-7 football team, year 3, and we've only regressed, right? We didn't make any progressions from, I think they were a 7-5 football team year 1. They were a 7-5 football team year 2. And now we're a 5-7 football team year 3. Like, the all this optimism around the Shane Beamer regime doesn't look so hot after if they lose this weekend to Florida.
Well, not only that, a lot of that optimism from 2022 came from the fact that you beat 2 top 10 teams in the last week. Other than that,
You closed strong.
You're
Other
having
than
a
that, it's up
mediocre
and down.
season. Everyone remembers how you finish, not how you start. So the fact that they finished with those 3 games, and I think they lost to Notre Dame in a close one too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's definitely going to hurt their momentum. My question was about it because I had the same scenario.
Oh.
Does it warm up Shane Beamer's seat?
I was about to say, I mean, it's not even to get into that too soon, but listen to this. Guys, they might be on a down tick, and guess what? There is no doubt about this fact right now, right here, that I'm about to lay on you. South Carolina gets incrementally worse at the quarterback position next year. There's no questions
So
about
yeah, by
that.
the way, they have to face Oklahoma, and I don't know what the schedule looks like for that, but you're going to have to be going up against those teams now.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane Beamer was asked about this week. I don't know if you guys saw the clip of him talking about it, but someone asked him kind of about the state of the program and how he feels about his team. And he, of course, gave the thing of, I think my team is in a great position. But then he also went on to say, I know you guys aren't a fan of 6-year rebuilds, but sometimes that's what it requires. I think it's pretty outlandish for him to assume that he's going to get 6 years or even that much. But, I mean, you continue on this trend this year, and like you're saying, there's no signs of it improving next year. And if you're going to, and with you having a drop-off at the quarterback position, if the struggle at offensive line continues, I mean, yeah, his seat definitely heats up. I think it has to at that point. I mean, 2.5 years now into this, I mean, you should be seeing signs of improvement. And so far this year, you are not seeing signs of improvement.
We got a rule around here, year 3. We got a year 3 rule around here. They're in year 3, well into it. And you're right, there hasn't been that's the concern. There hasn't been improvements in areas where there's been drastic issues for consecutive years. Now, Shane Beamer defendants would come on here and they'd say, well, they had major key injuries at tackle this year, right? They're starting young guys at the tackle spots. They had a guy go down, I believe, during the offseason, and a guy go down during the spring practice portions of the offseason. So there have been excuses, okay, for this football team, but this is 100% a must-win for this Shane Beamer regime this weekend as Florida comes to town. 2.5-point favorite. You got to pull this one out.
You think it's a flip side? You could even pose the question the other way, though, and say, what if Florida loses?
I mean, for me, I think Billy Napier's got DJ Lagway's freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone knows that. I think that's the kind of vibe around that football program right now. I think I have some more on Florida a little bit later with regards to our quarterback rankings. Some weird vibes around that program coming out down there. I think it really resides. He hasn't, just a side tangent here on Billy. I don't think, not that you have to handle the media with like curtail gloves, but like, I don't even think that's a term. Not that you have to handle the media with kid gloves and like curtail your messaging around them. But we got to kind of make sure the media, like I talked about last week, they either got to respect you or they got to like you. Okay, and I don't necessarily think that's happening on either front down there at Florida right now. Just Google Florida football, okay, and look at the news articles that are being written around him, particularly the op-eds, okay, and what guys are writing and choosing to write about him. It's not great, and it's even extended into the national landscape. I saw Football Scoop write an article about him the other day where Florida leads the country in wins lost, okay, on special teams. Okay, the amount of impact of the football game that's happened basically because they don't have a special teams coordinator, they don't have an offensive coordinator. Okay, there's a whole bunch of reasons to be like, what's going on, man? What are you doing? But it'll be even hotter, okay, in South Carolina and in Columbia if they lose. You got another what if for me?
Yeah, this is one that I think you're going to love. What if Oregon beats Washington on Saturday, but Michael Penix throws for 500 yards? Is he still the Heisman frontrunner?
What's Bo Nix do? 285, ground game wins it?
355 and two interceptions.
Well, then Bo Nix is the Heisman frontrunner because he wins the football game.
2 interceptions, though?
But here's the deal. If he wins the football game, it doesn't matter because he won the football game. The interceptions will go by the wayside. They'll just be added into the totality at the end of the year when they stack him up towards the rest of the guys. It's about who wins the football game unless, like I said, unless Oregon runs the football for like 350 yards, it's like a game managed type deal for Bo Nix. It's like, okay, he was 21 for 28, 250, but the real reason they won was offensive line and defensive line, and they ran the football. That case, yes. If there is an astronomical performance from Michael Penix, they lose it on the last play of the game or whatever, I think, yeah, there is a what-if scenario where Michael Penix's Heisman opportunities are still ahead of him.
Yeah, I think we all kind of –
And they still play at USC.
I think we all kind of assume that whoever wins this football game is going to get the bolster of the Heisman hype from this game and pretty much for the rest of the year in the Pac-12 not named Caleb Williams.
I like it. I like that what-if, though. I do because
Yeah.
I think if Penix goes down this year, he's going down swinging. He's going down 48 pass attempts, 425 yards. Defense gave up 50.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like. Unless that Oregon football team can cover them. We'll get into that during our final thoughts and predictions segment here in a little bit. I got another what if for you. What if UCLA gets by Oregon State this weekend? Okay, listen to me here. If UCLA gets by Oregon State this weekend, they are a 5-1 football team with a freshman in Dante Moore at the quarterback position. Okay, this is who they play in the remaining of their schedule. Listen to this. The next 4 weeks after a bye, they got Stanford, Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State. Yeah.
No
it is
way.
absolute shit coming down the pike for UCLA on the schedule.
Perfect for them to mess
And they're
up.
the only Pac-12 football team that has a slate like this. Now, they have 4 weeks plus a bye to really, really build themselves up offensively for a road game at USC. And then they finish the season with Cal. But 5 of their next 6 football games are against Stanford, Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Cal. 5 of the worst football teams in the Pac-12.
I'm going to give you a hot take.
What's up?
They'll lose one of those games.
It would be unfortunate. But the what if here is they get by Oregon State this weekend. They're a 5-1 football team, and they will be 9-1 when they go to the Coliseum. Is it the Coliseum? To play the Trojans.
I mean,
And they're the only football team in that conference that plays any type of defense.
I mean, I said it yesterday. I said UCLA is one of those teams in the Pac-12 where you better bring your hard hat and you better be ready to play, because if not, they're that team that will ruin your season, and they very well could do that to USC at the end of the year if they continue to go unscathed. That UCLA would be the opponent that would just ruin everything for the
Brian
Trojans.
Kelly, what's he most known for?
Brian Kelly?
Yeah, or excuse me, Chip Kelly. What's he most
His
known
offense,
Yeah.
the West. Not
for? Yeah,
West
but
Coast.
the pace of play, right?
Yeah.
This rapid scoring offense. Y'all been watching him at UCLA the last couple of years?
They've been slowing it down.
Dude, they beat the shit out of football teams. They get into 12 personnel. They're heavy counter. They're heavy gap scheme. They're heavy run game. They're a little bit screen action. They are a physical 12 personnel brand of football team. They are a run it down your throat football team. Okay, that is what they have evolutionized into. That's what they've revolutionized into. And that, ladies and gentlemen, smells like a little bit of recipe for a defeat for a USC Trojan football team.
You know what else they are? Top 5 in total defense.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like it. They are the number 1 defense in the country in yards per play. UCLA playing some defense out there. I like it. A little what if. They got to get by this one. It's a tough one, though. Road game against Oregon State. Oregon State, one of those other football teams in the Pac-12 that plays a tough physical brand of football. This is an important week for the UCLA Bruins. We don't have any more what ifs, but go ahead. Let's start laying it down. Before we get into final thoughts and predictions, or do we want to pick these 4 games before we go into, unless it doesn't happen?
Let's pick the 4 games.
All right, let's pick the 4 games. Let's go ahead and get in. Final thoughts and predictions. Let's go ahead and knock off this Oregon and Washington football game. For me, guys, this is by far the most intriguing matchup. Not of just this weekend, but for me, it might be the most intriguing matchup of the college football slate to date because of this reason right here. Oregon's core identity as a football team is we are going defensively, we are going to cover you, and we are going to shed blocks at the line of scrimmage. That is who they are. That is what they are on tape. When you watch them, their defensive philosophy is not to confuse you. It is not to throw a variety of looks at you. Their defensive identity is our guys are better than your guys. And if that's going to be the identity, and if they're going to go up and play that same style of football against Washington, I've compared this football team to 2022 Ohio State over and over and over and over again for this very reason. Michael Penix is completing, operating, playing as well, if not better, than C.J. Stroud was at Ohio State last year. They are putting it up. This dude is completing balls at an extremely high rate, and they are driving balls down the field. Now, you want to talk about a wide receiver core that could potentially rival what Ohio State's been doing over years past? Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, these are dudes. All 3 of those guys, over 350 receiving yards on the year. Rome Odunze's got over 500. These guys can get open. They have a quarterback that can throw it. So Oregon, a football team that is predicated off of covering you and getting after the quarterback. Washington, a football team that's predicated off the quarterback and having a weaponry of talented guys that are not going to allow you to cover them. I like Penix. I like offense in these matchups nowadays. Everyone always talking about defense winning championships. In the most recent examples that we have, okay, barring a missed field goal kick, if you're the football team that scores and scores at will, you win these football games. I like Washington at home in this matchup. Give me the Huskies.
So you're right in that why Washington kind of reminds you of 2022 Ohio State. I've said before, Washington reminds me more of a 2012, 2011 Oregon, where you boat race all of these bad teams, and it kind of looks like you have an unstoppable offense. And then you play a team of substance that can actually put you in a box, and it doesn't go as well, which I think is what's going to happen here. I think Oregon has a defense that's more than capable of slowing down Michael Penix's offense in Washington. I think Arizona kind of gave us the blueprint as to how to do so. So I'm going to go with Oregon on that. I also think Bo Nix, he might not be as talented. He might put the ball at risk a lot, yes. But I think he's a comparable quarterback to what Michael Penix is.
So you think Oregon's got like a limit possessions type of game plan Saturday, or they can at least operate that way if they have to?
I think they're capable of doing that, and I think that Arizona kind of gave you the blueprint.
The Bucky Irving kid's elite. Have y'all seen that running back?
Yeah.
I love watching that kid play. I mean, they're going to be able to run the football Saturday. You are right in that sense.
So I'm going to go with Oregon in this. And I just trust Dan Lanning.
Well, split take.
Yeah, I like Dan Lanning in his second year as well. I think this is kind of the year things get rolling for him. So I'm going Oregon.
I'm with the Ducks as well on this one, and I think it's because Oregon has the offense that they can hang with Washington, and then Oregon has the edge on defense. You know, I said it earlier in the week that them and Georgia are the only two teams in the country that have a top 10 scoring defense and a top 10 scoring offense, and that's what makes me lean towards Oregon's way in this game. And what Kirby mentioned about how Arizona may be kind of shown a blueprint. I don't think that's exactly how Oregon's going to go about their business the way that Arizona did, but I think that Oregon's defense is what's going to help them prevail.
No love, no fear about Husky Stadium.
I love Michael Penix and I love the Huskies, but
no fear about that home field advantage at Husky
maybe
Stadium.
I just don't know about it, you know?
You don't know about them Huskies. 70,000 dogs, Husky fans. Just
Yeah, but they spell it D-O-G-S.
do they really?
I think so.
No, I think it's D-A-G. D-O.
Anybody out here? I thought everybody was out here doing the.
You know what? I
DOGS.
think you are right because they were trying
No.
to get on Georgia fans for saying that they had it first.
Well, I mean, I don't know nothing about Husky Stadium. It looks like it's open-ended, so it's probably not very loud. What I have found, it doesn't really matter how many thousands of fans you have in your stadium. It does matter, okay, to some extent. Like, you have 150,000 people, they're going to be loud. I don't care if they're out in a farm, field, whatever. But the stadiums that are most loud, they're the encapsulated stadiums. They have no open ends. Okay, so if you're a two open-ended stadium, you're really probably not loud. But if you're a fully circular stadium like Autzen up there at Oregon, that sumbitch is going to be loud because the sound can't get out. I think it's the misconception about Sanford. Sanford's really loud, but it's got an open end. And it's where the river is too, so all of the wind goes out that way too, and naturally pulls the sound. So no, I don't necessarily think the home field advantage is that much of an advantage, but you're not playing at Autzen. Okay, you're not playing at Oregon, which is a major difference. So it's you two versus me, huh?
Yep.
Seems that way.
You guys are Husky deniers.
I just don't buy it, dude.
Y'all gonna fuck around and find out on Saturday. USC at Notre Dame. We'll start with you guys. Let's give y'all's takes before I give mine.
I battled with this one.
It's tough. It really is tough. It's two totally different brands of football.
Yeah, and
And two very untrustworthy football teams.
Exactly what I was about to say is I don't have faith or trust in either one of these football programs. And I hate to pull this type of thing, but it is at Notre Dame, and that's what kind of makes you want to say the Irish. And they need – I feel like they're looking for a bounce back, and I think this would obviously be one. And I feel like we've just also been kind of waiting, and we've been getting teased of the time that USC is going to got this season. And I think this is a prime opportunity for that to happen. And I think that Notre Dame has the ability to kind of take away some of the abilities of USC offensively. And I don't care what you say, Lincoln Riley. That defense is horrible. It's very bad. We talked about it the other day. It is one of the worst in the nation. And with Sam Hartman at quarterback, a legitimate quarterback for Notre Dame, someone that can actually throw it around a little bit, I want to take the Irish.
Lincoln Riley was out here hyping up some mid this weekend, wasn't he?
Sure was.
I think we should go ahead and play this clip while we're talking about it now. This was Lincoln Riley talking about why his defense doesn't need to be getting criticized.
Being able to continually get snaps, but there's a lot of good things happening on this defense, man. Like, you don't sit there and do what we're doing in TFLs, do what we're doing in sacks. Like, there's so many great things, but here's the deal. Everybody in the media had their mind made up, all right? Now I won't generalize. A lot of people in the media had their mind made up that the first second there was any adversity this year, saying, oh my God, should have done this, and they should have made this change, and blah, blah, blah. And it's not true. Like, listen, you're going to go through the whole year, you're going to have a tough game. Like, you're going to have a tough quarter. Do you respond, right? Do you show continued growth? And that's going to continue to be written throughout the entire year. But there's a lot of great things happening here, and we'll own the things that need to get better, but people need to make sure they're seeing the other side of it as well. And that's what we've been trying to say for a long time, and I think both myself and Caleb and some other players, I think we're venting a little bit of frustration with that, to be completely honest. So I like the job we're doing there. I think we're set up to play really well the second half of the season, and I can promise you inside these walls there is no expectation other than to play high level here in the second half of this year.
That sound comes courtesy of the homie Luka Evans, one of the rare pre-Luka Doncic Lukas that you'll see on social media. Luka with a C as well. Luka also the one that had the issues with Lincoln out there. So glad to see Luka back out at the media availabilities. This ain't Oklahoma no more, Lincoln. Can't be out here throwing folks out of your media availabilities for talking to players. Even though it probably was. I don't know. Touch and go. Anyways, hyping up some mid out here talking about that defense.
That's not mid. That's bad. It's just
You know how bad it is?
stinky.
Okay, they're really bad in totality in defense, but they're really bad in an area you can't be really bad at. They're 70th right now in rushing yards allowed per attempt. And Notre Dame, one of the most explosive offenses on the ground this year. Our guy, Audric Estime, I think him and Notre Dame as a whole rushed for over 250 yards this weekend.
Yeah, I think the Irish are going to dominate the line of scrimmage.
In games like these, I always kind of lean to the more balanced team. Notre Dame is clearly the more balanced team in this. USC's defense can make any offense look good. So I think I'm going to lean Notre Dame on that. And the fact that it's in Indiana makes me feel a lot better for picking Notre Dame. So I think I'm going to go Notre Dame here.
All right, I'm going to pick Notre Dame, but I'm going to have a caveat here.
All right.
We just spent 8 minutes talking about this football game. Not a word was mentioned about Caleb Williams.
Here's the thing.
Nobody said a word.
Well, here's the thing about Caleb Williams. He can't be your entire team. He can't be your entire team for,
But what if
for
he can
12
be?
weeks.
He has been.
What if he can?
That is them.
That's what I'm saying. What if that guy is that good?
That dude is that
He is.
good.
We all agree he's the best college football player I've ever watched. He's the best quarterback I've ever seen. Me personally. The only other one that I would even put into a discussion on the college level is Andrew Luck.
Johnny Manziel.
That's a 12 game.
I feel like I'm
joking.
It's
kind of
such a
battling
blip.
between.
I know you were, but I know but you're joking, but some people won't be. I'm not putting him in this conversation.
It's hard to because like some quarterbacks you enjoy watching because they're fun to watch. Like Lamar Jackson, that was a guy that was good, but also just super fun to watch.
Also lost 5 games one year.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence comes into the conversation. He was really good, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat Caleb Williams.
It really is.
He's easily in my top 3 off the top of my head. I mean, Cam Newton might be there. I think if Cam Newton plays 3 years in college, he gives similar performances like that. But it's also, my point is, I don't think Caleb Williams can continuously save you, especially against a Notre Dame team. Yeah, he can save you against Arizona when you go into double overtime and things like that. But I don't think that's going to fly in Notre Dame.
You mentioned the guy. Cam did it for 14 games. Cam managed to make people think that Auburn team was a good football team. They weren't. Like, fuck, even Nick Fairley flamed out in the league after 3 years. I don't even think he made a second contract with Detroit. Like, that team was so bad from an NFL football player's perspective. There just weren't any out there.
Yeah.
And Cam managed to win 14 games and remain perfect and did it in unfathomable ways. Now, the thing that was weird about Cam, and I don't know if this is the case with Caleb, and I'm not saying it is or isn't, but Cam had a way of making that defense play better. Cam had a way of making other people around him feel like they could play at a higher level.
He had
it
the
was
juice.
noticeable. He had the juice. Now, Caleb probably makes his offense feel that way. He hadn't made that defense play any better.
Nope.
And he hadn't made, like, Caleb Downs was like this in high school football. Mill Creek, and I know this is a national show. We're talking about Georgia high school football here, but Caleb Downs, as a position player, made other players around him feel confident and play outside of their mind. Caleb's got to find a way to make his defense play out of their mind on Saturday, and I don't know how he's going to do it. But if there's anyone in the sport that can figure out a way to do it, it's him. Let's move on to this. I got Notre Dame.
I think it's Notre Dame across the board.
Fuck. Check that. I'm changing right now. USC wins this football game. I'm not doing that.
Uh-oh.
I think there's some way, somehow, the best player in college football finds a way to do it.
The great ones do.
The great ones do. Miami at North Carolina. How on earth do you bounce back as a football program for what happened to this football team last Saturday? On both ends, man. You would be crushed as a football team if you gave up a 75-yard scoring drive in 26 seconds. You would be. You would be crushed as a football team if you failed to win a football game because you fumbled the ball when you could have kneed the ball out and you gave up a last-second field goal from right there on that spot. You would be a crushed football team. To combine both at home against a football team you were favored by 14 points against in the form of Georgia Tech, that's the baddest loss I think we'll see a team have to come back from this year in a rapid turnaround. And by the way, North Carolina, not the team to have to drag yourself off the mat from. Guys, does Miami get it done this weekend?
Yes.
Oh, why?
I think one thing that gets glossed over way too easily, UNC went into overtime with App State.
Yeah.
I don't think people talk about that. I don't want to sit here and make it seem like
they do the App State gloss over. It's App State.
I get it, and I get that. They are the team that has been prone to do that to Power 5 football teams. But I just don't want to sit here now like UNC's been dominating this whole time or anything like that. Plus, statistically, Miami has the better defense. They have the better run game. North Carolina is 55th in the nation for passing defense. And so I think they're going to give up some big plays. I think that Miami is going to be able to control this football game offensively. I think it's going to be close, but I think Miami is able to get this and pull it off.
I like that. I like the take. I don't agree necessarily, but I like the take.
I think people forget that prior to this loss on Saturday, Miami was a very good, respectable team. And they're a good opponent for UNC, but this game's going to go either one of two ways. Miami's going to come out the gate pissed off and ready for blood because of what happened, or they're going to still be hanging on to it and clinging on. One of those two teams is going to decide how that game goes. I'm going to lean UNC just because I don't know how you can emotionally get up after a loss like that, and I think Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. But I very well can see Miami winning this game, especially because UNC likes to give stinkers about this time of year. So I'm going to go UNC, but I would not be surprised if Miami won.
I think Miami's defense, they're a defensive-led football team outside of Tyler Van Dyke, the 35-year-old AARP, at quarterback. Apart from him, most of their NFL, leadership alpha dudes, whether it be Cam Kitchens, whether it be James Williams, the other safety, whether it be the defensive lineman that they have that's an NFL football player in a couple of years, number 44, I believe.
Can't think of his name.
Can't think of his name. Either way, they're alphas. Their alphas are on the defensive end and particularly in the defensive backfield. Okay, so if you need somebody to get up, it's that group because Drake May is that guy. Drake May is kind of going under the radar as a potential Heisman winner, I feel like. Maybe not in Vegas, but from a national media narrative perspective, I feel like somehow Drake May's having a sneaky year. That sounds crazy, but he is.
I think it's maybe because we've had to go a week or two without having to really talk about North Carolina while all these other teams are having big games, and I think they had a bye week and had another opponent that really wasn't worth talking about. That's why.
It was Pitt. I mean, it's an ACC opponent.
Pitt's 1-4.
Yeah, but still, it's a conference opponent.
It's bad.
If Carson Beck throws for 400 yards on Saturday against Vandy, no one's going to go, it's Vandy. They're going to start giving him legitimate talks.
You know what that is? Pitt being bad? That's the football gods getting that back at Pat Narduzzi for talking all that shit against other coaches.
And the fake slide.
You don't do that. And the fake slide. I think Mark Stoops has got a bad bunch of karma coming his way too, because you don't do this. You don't say bad things about other programs. You don't call out other programs. We all know what's going on. You don't have to curry favor with your fan base. We all know. The smart ones, the ones who pay your checks, your boosters, they know the game, dog. They know the game. They know that you're at a disadvantage when it comes to resources. It's their resources. They're the ones giving it to you. Okay? So don't come out here and do this, Pat Narduzzi. Don't come out here and shit on Lincoln Riley because the football god's going to get you. They're going to come get you. The ball's not going to bounce your way the next time. But back to this football game. I don't like the pick of North Carolina as much as I like the pick of the over. The line on this game set at 57 points. I think this is very easily a 35-32 football game. Yeah. I think it's a classic North Carolina win. I think North Carolina win. They've won a lot of these football games, whether it be against good opponents or bad opponents. North Carolina has found a way to look up in the middle of the fourth quarter. It's a 42-37 football game, and they've got the football with an opportunity to go win it. I like North Carolina. And give me the 2.5 points. I don't care. Lay it. 2.5 points. I like North Carolina in this football game.
That was it. He's got Miami.
You got Miami,
UNC, and you've got UNC.
We got UNC. All right, last football game of the slate, UCLA at Oregon State. What you boys say?
I like UCLA. I think I like what I saw from last week again from Dante Moore. I think that's an offense that's continuing to grow. I think that's a freshman quarterback who's continuing to grow confidence. And I mentioned it earlier, they're top 5 in total defense right now, and this is going to be one of those games where defense really matters. And I think that it's going to come down to who can get the one last stop, who can just get that one more stop than the other team. And I think UCLA is going to be able to do that. And I think Chip Kelly, Dante Moore get the job done.
I'm going to go Oregon State just on the sheer fact I think DJU is the better quarterback here. I think defenses are kind of a wash at that point, and when you get the situations like that, I always just lean quarterback. So
I'm staying the hell away from DJ Uiagalelei against good defenses. It's kind of been my MO.
Did you see
for a
what his
while.
dad tweeted though?
Yeah, about the Matter Day stuff. Oh no, what did you see?
So
No, about finally being in a program that
Yeah.
allows him to develop.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
Nice.
Pops. I ain't gonna say shit about Pops because Pops is like 6'7", like 290 pounds, maybe probably way heavier than that. I don't fuck with Samoans. I don't talk shit about Samoans. I just don't do it
No, it's
That's a good
because
rule of
Yeah.
thumb.
they be coming with razor blades and lemon juice. Just pain, brother. It'd be bad. Anyways, so I don't talk shit about Uiagalelei's, but that being said, this is a good defense in UCLA, and they're going to turn him over. They're going to turn him over a couple of times on Saturday. You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen. I'm taking UCLA in this football game. You got Oregon State. We got a couple flippy floppies tonight between us on these here
I like it.
game calls. Do y'all want to do unless it doesn't happen, or do y'all want to do SEC quarterback rankings right quick?
when you run through it, unless it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can just
Let's-
list them
let's do
off. We
this.
don't have to do the whole.
Yeah, give me
spiel.
the unless it doesn't happen.
All right, I got 3 of them for you. Sam Hartman puts up better numbers than Caleb Williams does on Saturday. Stanford upsets the Buffaloes. And then my last one, Miami upsets UNC.
I like it.
I've got
Stanford over the hold on.
Yeah.
Stanford over the Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Stanford's the worst team in the Power 5 football.
Not after Saturday.
Oh boy, I've got one similar. I've got Stanford plays Colorado close, and Colorado gets clowned more. But I don't have Stanford winning that game outright. I've also got a top 5 team loses this week.
Just randomly, you didn't tell us who it was.
No, it's that vibe. It's
Yeah.
one of those things where I can't be like, oh, this top 5 team's gonna lose.
It's really a top 4 because the 5th team's on a bye.
Yes,
But
So I mean, it's looking at that schedule and being like, they can't all be cakewalks for them, right?
Yeah.
My gut's saying top 5.
Somebody's
team.
getting a little butthole tight.
Yep. And then the last one is Bo Nix gets serious Heisman hype after Saturday.
You just want this to happen
I-
just so he has to.
I
He
honestly-
just wants to see my pain.
I truthfully don't even like love Bo Nix or think he's like a great quarterback, but I do love watching you consistently go through. Oh, yeah, Bo Nix is playing pretty good right now, I guess. And we're halfway through the season, and you're still having to say that, so it's
Yeah.
funny.
He's leading the goddamn nation in completion percentage and quarterback rating. I don't know what the fuck to do
Turnover
with that.
prone though.
Hey, what?
I was just gonna say I was shocked at first that the Stanford take just like kind of went over. Nobody
It
said
glossed
anything.
right over, and then I was like, what? Hold on. Squirrel? Yeah, no, that's a hot take right there. Let's do these SEC quarterback rankings, and then we'll get
You don't
out
have
of here
any?
for the night. What?
You don't have any unless it doesn't happen?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I do have quarterback rankings. You got quarterback rankings?
Nope.
That's what I thought. Here we
How
go.
many are there? Wait, before
9.
you 9.
this
Oh,
week.
someone made it in the
We
list.
got a brand new entrant into the list.
He don't have tweet noties on.
I was about to say he ain't got the noties on. We
I
already
actually
tweeted out.
saw the chart and I was like, I'll save it for the
I
show.
didn't get too much vitriol this week, I don't think. Let's see here. Yeah, no, you're a fat idiot in the comments yet. But I did have some Bama fans being like,
Should I go comment that right now?
no, you're good on that. All right, here we go. Starting from the bottom to the top. We do have some changes at the top. Not the tippy top, but we do have some changes at the top. I got Jalen Milroe at number 9. Now, Jalen hasn't been on the rankings all season, and it's been for a variety of reasons. But last week, I believe my explanation of Jalen Milroe was he's basically being told to conduct offense like a wide receiver or a skill position guy on a trick play. Okay, basically, in other words, hey, that guy's the primary read. If he's not wide open, tuck the ball and run. If you've listened to any national analysis on Jalen Milroe, that's been it. If that guy's not open, don't even worry about a secondary, thirdary read. Just take off and go. That has been the explanation and the analysis around Jalen Milroe. And what we have said was the moment they get pinned up against a football team that limits them, makes them one-dimensional, and just takes the run out of the equation, they're going to be in trouble. Well, guess what happened this weekend? Texas A&M did exactly that. He threw for over 300 yards, was relatively efficient in doing so, and they won the football game on the road. He did this weekend what we said he can't do. So he showed us, and we are a show me network. So guess what? Jalen Milroe comes in at number 9. Now, Max Johnson comes in at 8. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, Jalen Milroe beat him this weekend. Why is he ranked ahead of sample size? So Max Johnson showed me enough through 15 games or so that he's played that he is a serviceable SEC quarterback. I trust him. I can take him out there. I can go into hostile environments, and I will know he's not going to be the sole reason that we win or lose a football game. He's just okay. He is just serviceable as a quarterback, and that does more than most. Now, some people will say, well, Brooks, he played like shit this last weekend against Alabama. And I'm going to tell you, guess what? Alabama's defense is going to do a lot of that this year. They're going to do a lot of making guys look bad at the quarterback position, except for Quinn Ewers. That was more of an outlier of a performance from an offensive perspective against Alabama this year than any of the other ones are going to be. I got Max Johnson at number 8. KJ Jefferson comes in at number 7. I know they had a bye week this past week. They're asking him to do some things that he's not necessarily comfortable doing. We'll move on from him at number 7. He's slowly just kind of falling down these lists every week. Graham Mertz comes in at number 6 for me. Now, Graham's a guy I've gotten to study a little bit heavier the last couple of weeks because they've played opponents that Georgia's going to play the next week, right? They played
Kentucky.
They play Kentucky. We're officially 9 hours into content this week. They play Kentucky the week before Georgia played them. They played Vandy the week before Georgia played them. So I've been watching some Graham Mertz tape, and I'm going to tell you what. Apart from the occasional, damn, you clearly don't know your protection rules. That guy shouldn't have hit you that fast. You should have had a guy blocking him. You should have been directing coverage that way or protection that way. Those kind of things, those kind of minor, the game's a little fast for you right now. Outside of that, man, he's not working with a whole lot down there right now at Florida. Okay, the offense isn't exactly revolutionary. Okay, every single time I turned on a third down tape of his against Kentucky last week, some bitch is operating in 3rd and 19s. I don't know how you're expecting him to have success. I watched the Kentucky game in which he goes, 16 for 40. Guys, it's a miracle he's not turning the ball over every single time he goes out there. He's not working with a lot. It's tight window throws every single time, and he's managing to be competitive. I left watching the tape going, the last person that's the problem is the quarterback. Like, he's playing relatively well down there at Florida. Brady Cook at number 5 for us this week. 2 critical turnovers last week in that football game against LSU, but did throw for almost 400 yards again. They're continuing to light it up. I think Luther Burden's the best receiver in college football this year, one of, that's not getting enough love. There's plenty that are. Jackson Dart coming in at number 4 for me, same reasons. Spencer Rattler had a week off this week. He comes in at number 3 for me. Carson Beck in at number 2 this week on the SEC quarterback rankings. And ladies and gentlemen, he's going to keep rising. I think there's an opportunity. He looks like the best quarterback in the conference by the end of the year. Jaden Daniels in at number 1 for us this week on the list and is going to remain as such as long as he has to continue to put up 50 goddamn points to try to win football games. Thoughts before we head out on the SEC QB rankings?
I think top 2, you nailed it. I think those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the conference right now. Nice to see that Graham Mertz is getting some love. He's been playing. I think he's just been overshadowed by the fact that Florida just isn't that good. So overall, I like it.
Ditto.
All right, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate, and review, and telling your friends about the network as well. Hey, we love you. We'll see you on Monday.